And welcome back to another episode of the Grip It and Rip It Sports Podcast. And this is a big time episode today because this, guys, is our season one essentially finale.
Yeah, we're going to be taking just a little bit of a break. Not too long.
No, not too long.
Probably back the first week of August or so.
Yeah, me and
I'm
Chris
thinking.
both have vacations coming up. I'll
That's
be
what
leaving
we'll call
actually
it.
right. Yeah, I'm gonna be leaving right after this. Actually, heading down to San Diego for my boy Dom's bachelor party. Can't wait.
And I'm heading down to Charlottesville, Virginia for my godbrother's wedding. His name's Alex Piscarino. Shout out to him and his soon-to-be husband, Anthony LeCunte, I believe.
And so, yeah, we're going to be out of town for a little bit, so we're going to take a little bit of a break. Plus, we're hitting that point in the season now where NBA free agency is kind of closing up. MLB All-Star Weekend just happened, so we're just into that home stretch of the baseball season.
It's the dark season,
Yeah,
right?
it's the dark season. So, perfect time to hop off the train a little bit, let some stuff happen, and then come back.
But today we've got a very special guest with us, and we're extremely happy to have him here. His name is Conner Maloney. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me on, gentlemen.
Absolutely.
I'm honored to be on here with you guys.
What did you think when I hit you up and I was like, yo, you want to come on this?
Well, at first I thought, what a perfect segment for me. Free agency, basketball, all things that I love.
Yep.
And then, I also thought that, hey, it'd be a nice time to just spend some time with the boys, chop it up, get a few combos going on,
Absolutely.
It's always a good time, man.
We love it, man. That's what we do this. That's why we do this. So did you bring something for us?
Hey,
I don't mean to
cut you
pry
off
here,
right here, but I brought you guys a little nothing bundt cake buntlets. I got a classic vanilla for you and a marble. I currently work there part-time while also going to school, and it's just, if you haven't had these cakes, you guys, I just take a bite.
Nothing bundt cake.
I've had these, and they are delightful.
Yes, thank you
They
so
are
much for that.
delightful. They are amazing. And I'm happy I grabbed the marble because I'm a big marble guy. So really dig on the marble there. So you said you're going to school, though, Connor. So what are you going to school for?
Going to school to just teach.
Oh, hey.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Welcome
mean, it's
to
a
the club.
great thing. But just do a little teaching. Right now I'm substitute teaching and then going back to school at UNLV to just finish up, like I said. And then coaching basketball over at Faith.
That's
I
big.
coach
Cool.
the freshman basketball team over there right now and in hopes of moving up in a couple of years to climb the old ladder, like they say. So,
You let us know if those kids need to be run off the court.
well, I just pretty much demolish them and destroy their dreams every day when I play with them. But
Awesome.
I gotta give them a little bit of love, and help them out a little bit. That's why I'm doing it, to give back, obviously. So it's a good time. It's a good time.
And you get a lot out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just another time to perfect my jumper. Can never get too much time doing that.
Fuck yeah.
So do you get this, being a fellow teacher, obviously, do you get to substitute at Faith a lot then? Is that where you kind of stick to? Or
Yeah, I'll probably just stick around Faith, but I'm going to try to go to some other schools
Broaden
and
the
see
horizons.
what's going on. Yeah, because you just got to see what's out there, might be another opportunity. Faith's a little strict, a little play it by the books too, and I don't know if I'm always that guy all the time. So
Well, I can tell you, going back to middle school basketball when we first met. No, you were not the most I guess you want to say disciplined at that time.
yeah, I'd say I always march to the beat of my own drum.
There you go.
Hey, that's
I'd say
good,
I
man. That's what these
always,
kids need.
I kind of just put myself in a position to just always tell myself what to do. No,
Hell
but
yeah.
no, it's
Hell
just one
yeah.
of those things I learned as I got older. You got to be a little more coachable. You got to take what people say to your heart. People do know more than a 12-year-old, 13-year-old middle school basketball player at the time. So no,
don't tell me that at 12, 13 years old, though, damn it.
Nope, you can't tell me nothing.
So what do you, subject?
history.
Oh, very
History,
cool.
and then hopes of doing a little PE, physical education as well, because
That's living the dream.
I also love playing sports. I was a
That's
multi-sport
how you
athlete.
show up to your job that you love.
every day.
I teach PE.
You want to know? Hey, you want to know what the best part about being a PE teacher is?
What's
though?
that?
You get to wear shorts every day.
every day.
My ass, I gotta come in a nice polo, some slacks. and,
Yeah.
all my PE teacher buddies, they're all wearing t-shirts and shorts. So,
6 hours a day.
what
So,
do?
what are some of your favorite teams in all the sports? College and pro.
Okay, let's see. Growing up in Southern California, playing football, basketball my whole life. Obviously, I'm a USC, UCLA, Pac-12 kind of guy when it comes to college sports. For professional sports, Lakers.
Hey.
And then for my AFC team, I was a Chargers fan, San Diego Chargers, not the LA Chargers.
So no more?
Obviously I still have a little bit of love for them, but I just hated that they had to go to LA. Didn't really like the Rams as much, but, I was kind of a fan of Kurt Warner, Torrey Holt back in the day.
Same.
Greatest show on turf, man.
Greatest.
Yeah,
Don't forget Marshall Falk, please.
Oh, never forget Marshall Falk. How
Isaac
could I?
Bruce.
Isaac.
Also true.
Yeah, and so, and I'm just more of like I enjoy college athletes. Like, I enjoy seeing where, like, some of these guys go to, like, in the professional sports and then following a certain player. I'm not like I love the Lakers might be the only team that I'm really like, hey, gung-ho, I worry about them or, and whatever moves, trades they're making. But other than that, I just kind of follow teams like that. I'm just a pure sport.
Does following the players from college, does that translate from you playing college athletics?
Yeah, definitely playing a little bit of college athletics, and I think just growing up, my family, we used to do like college game days and like all that kind of stuff growing up, and big breakfasts. So we were like always about watching certain players and seeing where they were going, and just kind of following their like little path in the NFL. So definitely rubbed off on me a little bit, I'd say.
And where'd you play ball at?
I played ball up at Rocky Mountain College, a NAIA school in Montana.
Football.
In Billings, football. And played it there for like 2.5 years. And then just, something clicked in me at like 20, like most smart 20-year-olds. I was just like, you know what? Marching to the beat of my own drum. I'm going to leave, and I don't think this is something that I want to do as much anymore. Just didn't have the passion for it. Was tired of waking up, all the workouts. No one really talks about all the stuff that goes into being a college athlete.
Oh, no.
And I think if they did a little more, kids would kind of be like, ooh, like, I don't know if I love it that much, or maybe this isn't something that I want to do. But
well, it's because if you have a schedule for the day, every single hour is blocked
Is
off
blocked.
for the
Is
whole
blocked.
from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. pretty much,
Yeah.
right?
And you being a coach, and I'm sure you could attest to this, 'cause
Yeah.
I do it where I'm at Del Sol, so I coach there.
Perfect,
And,
yeah.
I tell the kids all the time, they all have these dreams and aspirations of going to play college. And I'm like, you guys really need to get your athletics or your academics in order first, man, because
Yeah.
you guys do not understand how hard it's going to be on you. There's a lot of athletes that go to college and
Yeah.
they flunk out year one because they don't understand the grind and the absolute, the difficulty of
commitment.
The commitment, exactly. It's a
Yeah.
great word for it that you're gonna have to put in. It's waking up at 6 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning to get to workouts. It's
And
then going to class the rest of the
totally.
day. Practice after that. You're not home till 8.
Film.
Film
Weights.
is like the hardest, and film was always the toughest because you're so tired from your whole day of schedule and doing everything. Then they like want you to sit down and watch yourself, and you're like in a dark room that's cold, and you're just like sitting there in your seat, and you're just like trying
You better
put
not
your
fall
head down
asleep.
and fall asleep. But yeah, it's
Well, then
just
you
one
leave.
of those things.
Then you leave
It's
there
just-
and you got to go do homework.
Yeah.
And that's if you don't have a study hall already. You
Homework.
might have a study hall.
homework.
We won't tell them
what's
about
that?
that.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, other than that, though, just a full sports guy. I played lacrosse, too. I grew up in Southern
much
California,
fun.
like I was saying. So, like, used to run on the beach, throw the Frisbee, go surf, bodyboard, skimboard. Like, I truly, growing up, my parents kind of let me do a lot. And I think that's kind of why football and all that, like going to college and all that, like the next few years, I was like, man, I just want to do something else. Like I just always wanted to play or do something else. And I think it was kind of like, man, no, this is your job, for 2 years. Like, this is what you do every day. And it kind of just got burnt out, And not that I don't love football, because I love football, but it was like, man, I don't know if this is that much, that fun anymore playing football anymore.
And then at that point, once it falls out of something that you love, then
It's hard to have
your
to be able
dedication's
to,
not
yeah,
there.
You
You're
can't
more
dedicate your time to it.
more liable to get hurt. There's the list goes on with things
Right.
when you're not
man, once that-
100% in it.
Yeah.
Once that love's gone,
Yeah.
it's tough to stay there.
It's tough to get that love back, baby.
That's the truth.
Go ahead, Dan.
Being a big NBA guy, so I'm glad we got you here for
Yeah.
this because we did NBA free agency last episode.
We did the start of it, which
did
we
the start of
knew
it.
we knew that we weren't gonna get. We knew that we didn't have Kawhi for the last one. It sucked because we had to put that out right after
it all happened.
which was
So the big domino fell,
Yep.
and
we were wrong. I was wrong.
I think we were all wrong. I don't think any of us really
I
had him
was-
in him going to the Clippers still.
I mean, from what you hear and what the stories that were being told, it was like, man, you almost were guaranteed for certain that he was going to the Lakers, And it just, you got all these reporters, whether it be on, Fox or like, ESPN or whatever it might be, but just have zero idea. I mean, really, in reality,
Yep.
they all were sitting there acting like each person had an insider, but no one had an insider.
No one did.
Out of all the things that we said, like I said, I don't think any of us were right because I didn't have them
Yeah.
going back to the Clippers. But the one thing I did say last week's episode was everybody keeps talking about how it's a done deal to the Lakers. It's a done deal to the Lakers. He's going to LA, and nothing was happening. I'm like, that just makes me think more so that he will not end up
go
in
to the
LA.
Lakers, right?
It's almost like it's like exactly what was happening. He was waiting for something else to happen to make him not go there.
Yeah.
And he put in the request for, if y'all land Paul George.
Like I know you posted it on our Facebook page, or you shared it on the Grip It and Rip It page. Somebody came out with like a whole thing about all the different things that Kawhi was doing for the last week and a half, and man, he was literally playing chess with the entire league, and that's really what was happening.
Yeah. I also think that Magic Johnson kind of didn't help our cause either. There were some things that were being said that, Kawhi wanted his own personal trainer to be on the medical staff. He wanted time off, whatever. And he was leaking some of those things out, to, the press and the public so we all could see that. And if you know Kawhi Leonard is like zero talk, I just am all
he's a robot.
business, and he doesn't want, things being leaked, which I think in reality might have hurt the Lakers' chances.
And
so
I
Magic
think-
Johnson hurts us again as Lakers.
And I think to,
Thank
to,
God
to
he's gone.
add on to that, Kawhi did come out and say he was testing all these markets for leaks.
Right.
Did he really?
Yeah, we knew
said
that. So you have this thing come out where Kawhi is requesting his own personal training staff, which if you're the Lakers or you're any team, you're doing that.
Oh, yeah,
You're also
of
going to
course.
allow for him to take 20, 25 games off. You're going to allow for that. But the Lakers, with the Magic Johnson stuff that came out, and also when he flew back to Toronto, there was a crowd of 200 people waiting outside the hotel for that.
And a
that-
helicopter chasing him.
outside waiting.
And what was the one team you didn't hear shit about? The Clippers.
The Clippers.
Clippers were like,
So-
this is gonna be the best fucking team we ever have. Don't you say a fucking word.
So
Yeah,
the
don't you say a damn
Clippers were
thing.
able to keep it hush hush, and also essentially land the only guy that could have got him there, and it made it happen. It's really it blew my mind.
I mean, the fit for him now on the Clippers. I mean, if you really look at their five, you got Paul George, him together, and then you also, you're just trying to really like Montrezl Harrell. Then you got a Lou Williams coming off the bench. It's just it's a well put together team. I mean, Pat Beverly coming in and giving you minutes playing defense. It's just one of those things that like they really hit the gold.
They did.
They really struck gold on that.
And I definitely want to get to that, but let's talk about Paul George a little bit too.
Okay, yeah.
So
Yeah.
a couple weeks back when the Lakers made the trade for AD, I said that, man, that is a king's ransom that they gave up. And then the Clippers one-upped them. The Clippers just gave up
Yeah.
a bunch of draft capital to go out there and get them,
This is exactly what you have to do when, and we talk about it in the NFL drafts all the time. Like when you have your guy and you know who it is,
Yeah.
like there's no dollar value that can match what the worth that you put on him.
Absolutely.
So I don't look down on the Lakers for giving up what they gave up to get Anthony Davis.
No.
And I think that the Clippers, man, they wanted Kawhi and they did everything that they could and had to do to get him.
Yeah.
So
if you want to win a championship, if that's your guy and you want to win a ship, you got to do what you got to do to get
Right,
it. And you
right.
know what? Both teams did what they had to do to get the guy that they wanted, and you got to respect that.
Yeah, and I think teams got better. I mean, obviously Oklahoma City didn't get better. From the way it looks like too,
Well,
we're going to get into that.
Yeah.
Look
Look at you.
It,
You're a
it
seasoned veteran already.
possibly could, be disaster for them down the road. But I look at the Pelicans. The Pelicans struck it rich, man, from that deal. If you ask me,
Pelicans,
they're
going to be.
they need
they're
to-
gonna be
they
good
get
in the
Brandon
future.
Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, Zion Williamson, and then from the Jackson Hayes, the guy in summer league, he just had a absolute. Oh,
and they got Cam
JJ
Reddish.
Redick.
Didn't they get
They
Cam
got-
Reddish too, or is that Atlanta?
No, that's
That's
Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Yeah.
But JJ Redick coming and shooting for you. I mean, dude, Pelicans might sneak in as an 8 seed.
Okafor's on the Pelicans.
Yeah, he's on the
Oh yeah,
Pelicans.
Jaleel for you.
Yeah.
So yeah,
They could be a sneaky 8 seed.
I will say a thing with the Pelicans is that, for one, they're probably looking at one more year of like growing up before that team
Yeah,
is serious.
they're not going to be ready yet.
I don't think
but
they're going to make it.
They're
but,
young and on the way.
They're going to be knocking on the door. Two, they really need to look at how the Nets screwed up their,
yeah.
or the Celtics screwed up their colossal haul from trading the big three.
Yeah.
Because they essentially got, I don't know. They should be much better off than they are now. So use that as an example to draft right, make your right picks. And from right now, it looks like that's, they're on that train. So
Yeah.
And so I did just want, for any of our fans out there that didn't see the Paul George trade or the package at least, I did want to just hit it real quick on exactly what they got. So I hope that this is correct because it was hard just to find one where they list everything. But OKC acquired 3 unprotected first-round picks from the Clippers in this trade in 2022, 2024, and 2026, plus 2 firsts from Miami, a 2021 unprotected and a 2023 protected lottery pick, and the right to swap picks with the Clips in 2023 and 2025.
right. So they got
And Gallinari.
And
they got
Gallinari.
Yeah, so
That's
they got
pretty good.
They got the three picks from the Clippers.
3 picks from the Clips.
Which is what you said 20, 22, and
2022, 2024, and 2026.
right? And then in 23 and 25,
Five,
those
they
are
get
swaps,
swaps.
for the best. The best
Yeah.
one comes back to OKC.
Yes.
So they gave up all 5 of their first round picks
Essentially.
and the 2 Heat picks that they had collateral on.
Right.
Unbelievable.
That's insane.
That's
but-
more than Anthony Davis
It
went
is.
for.
That's
I feel
why
like.
I said it is. I would have to say so. I think that's
I'd take Anthony Davis over Paul George, knowing those numbers.
Yeah, I just ever since I saw Paul George get splatted up by Damian Lillard last year in the playoffs, my respect
but I
level
closed
for
out
him
on-
went down a little bit. No, I'm just joking. Obviously, Paul George is a
top 10 player.
top 10 player,
Yeah.
In the
top
NBA
5
right now.
maybe world player. From what we know, I just don't like the stories about Kawhi, Paul George being like, hey, I wanted to be a Lakers, I wanted to be this. This is like something that I always dreamed of, the franchise I dreamed of playing for, and then. The Lakers come out and they come knocking on your door, and then all of a sudden it's like they don't have enough talent, or the pressure's too much, or I don't want to live in a Kobe spotlight. It's like, come on, man.
Last play
you know
in
what? Just
OKC.
play and just come to the place that you want to play.
I think
Last
that's.
play as the member of the Thunder was getting sprayed.
I think that's true.
That's the last memory that any Oklahoma City fan has of Paul George
It's not-
is of him just getting a 50-footer in his eye by Damian Lillard.
I do want to ask this question.
Yep.
Is this, and I don't think it's a worse look for LeBron, but this is the question I'm going to
Yeah.
ask. Is it a worse look for LeBron that none of these, other than AD, he couldn't get another superstar there? Or is it a worse look
No.
for Russell Westbrook that Paul George decided to fucking leave his
We'll
ass?
segue into that, then we'll pick back up
Okay.
after.
I truly, I think it looks bad on obviously Russell Westbrook. I mean, dude, you got to look at the guy, and obviously triple doubles numbers. Sometimes numbers don't tell the whole story. You know what I mean?
Basketball's a sport where
It's-
that's the biggest case.
Yeah, and it truly is, because you just have had multiple people now come out and leave. Whether it was Carmelo Anthony or whether it was, Paul George
Or Durant.
Serge
That was
Ibaka.
Serge Ibaka, and
Harden.
he just-
Well, that was an internal decision. But
Yeah,
even,
but-
even
but he
still,
plays with a chip on his shoulder all the time.
you're 100% correct
And I
that he
think,
does.
and I think as a result of that, it kind of rubs other players the wrong way. They kind of just feel like this guy's so out to get, the numbers and all that for himself that maybe team isn't first for him. Maybe but he would claim to this day that wouldn't be the case. But just by the way he plays like 1,000 miles per hour, like a Tasmanian devil, man. You
Yeah,
think
he
the
doesn't slow
guy's
down.
literally, he's clearly out to just pad his stats somewhat.
Kevin
you know?
Durant's brand manager rips Russell Westbrook, quote, nobody wants to play with him.
Awesome. I love that.
It's a longer quote, but
We don't need any more. We all get it.
It's sad though. It's sad because you see the guy. He's got the talent's out of this world. It's undeniable. He can play basketball. The problem is he a team basketball player? And I just don't know. He's like the guy at the YMCA who's going to shoot every time, man, or at 24 hour, and it's just you never get a chance to get in a
And
flow.
he shoots about as well as a guy at the YMCA.
Well, the volume is too much, man. If he cut down his shots by 8 shots per game, he might be the best player in the
Or
NBA.
maybe just tell Russell Westbrook we'll pay you $2 million more if you don't shoot a three-pointer.
If you could keep your attempts under 20 this year, we'll give you an extra $1 million per attempt that you're under
Right,
20.
right.
So hey, 16, you're getting an extra $4 million.
Hey, they just can't be shooting.
But,
It'll never happen though, and that's in his DNA. And I
Yeah,
think that's where we're seeing all these guys just. They're like, oh man, we look at the numbers, we see the highlights, and yes, Russ, he's a fucking god. But then you get there and you see all of the stat padding and the turnovers in the fourth quarter and the horrible shot selection, and the good basketball players want out, man.
Yeah.
all of them.
And I agree exactly what you said. I think it's much worse look on Russ. I only bring the LeBron James thing into it just because that's kind of what the narrative
Right.
is.
Oh, yeah,
right?
it's totally narrative on it.
Kawhi was
Yeah.
supposed to go to L.A. Paul George was supposed to go to L.A. These guys didn't end up going there. But honestly, I
actually
think
helps
this is the
LeBron's-
best thing for the Lakers to have actually have had
Absolutely.
happen.
Yep.
Because now if you look at the Lakers roster,
It's full with pending changes still, but they've got 14 guys on it
they
now.
had $32 million in cap space to spend on some mid-tier guys
here
that
the-
are going to
here-
be really good rotational pieces. In
Here are
that
the
lineup.
guys that they brought in: Danny Green, DeMarcus Cousins. They brought McGee and Rondo back. Then in the
Yes.
front court, they signed Avery Bradley, Quinn
Yes.
Cook, brought back Kobe, KCP, Kobe Light, fake Kobe. He wishes he was Kobe.
Kobe Square.
Yeah. Hold on.
Troy Daniels, Jared Dudley,
Right.
Alex Caruso, he might actually get some good run.
I really hope Alex Caruso gets some run.
And
Love
then
him.
they drafted Talon Horton Tucker, and that's 14. Hey,
And we
he
still
could play.
Kyle Korver still might end up signing because he was just bought out by the Suns
Yeah, he was.
or waived by the Suns, whatever it was.
We'll
So
see what happens with that.
that's still out. But I would think that LeBron's probably on Kyle
I mean,
Korver's cell phone.
if you look at this Lakers starting five and you go LeBron at 1,
Mm-hmm.
you go Danny Green 2, Kuzma at 3, right? Anthony Davis 4 and Boogie 5. I mean,
Like 3 years ago, I would have been like, "Oh my god,
tried-
what the
like
fuck?"
I mean, I'm just saying, like that's a lineup right there that, like, I don't care. You could put the Warriors in their prime. You could put Kevin Durant back on that team. Get a healthy Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and a Draymond Green, whoever else they throw out their 5. That whatever the Warriors do. I would take this new Lakers starting 5 against that starting 5 in a best-of-7 series, and I genuinely think they might beat them.
And this team
Straight
is
up.
much deeper now than the Warriors are.
Oh,
yeah, and
already,
that's what-
already
that's
they're
where I was
so
gonna go.
much deeper than the Warriors that that was a
Yeah,
huge
and that was a big
pitfall of them in the playoffs was that they had no depth.
Yeah.
this Lakers team is freaking
There's
deep, man.
There's a lot of
Deep.
there's a lot of depth in the Lakers' second that second bench team. If they could bring out an entirely new
Savvy.
5 and put a
Savvy.
solid bench team out.
Yeah. Or you don't even go with Danny Green at the 2. You take Avery Bradley, who I'm huge on. You want to talk about 3-and-D guy in the league now? That's like Avery Bradley for
there's
you right
always
there.
levels to player comparisons, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
There's levels to this. Avery Bradley as an individual player,
Yeah.
Avery Bradley on this team is a very good
Very
fit.
good.
Very,
Very good.
very
fit.
good.
Let's not
fit.
forget that
Yeah.
Avery Bradley, granted, he was a
He
pretty
can run some
decent
point, too.
He was a decent player 3-4 years ago before all the trades happened. He was averaging
yeah.
14, 15
Well,
a year. He was putting in good
Yeah,
minutes.
and that's what happens. You go to other places, you have to crack lineups, you got to do this, you got to do that. He's going to be in a situation where he's not looked at as a guy. He's going to be
Down to the bench.
on the
Yeah,
and
so that's
out
where-
of
that's where
there
his best
and
years were
out
at,
of there
was in
essentially.
Boston.
But LeBron's the perfect guy for a guy like Avery Bradley, and we saw it last year with JaVale McGee to really come back to like the best player that they've been. And I'm not saying that they're great or anything,
Right.
But Avery Bradley's a great fit considering the circumstances. Who we wouldn't have had we had gotten Kawhi.
And I want to ask this question because it's going to segue into something that I also want to
Please.
bring
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Because about this time last year, when Boogie Cousins signed with the Warriors, you Facebooked out that this would be the downfall of the Warriors.
Yes.
How do you feel about Boogie going there? And do you feel the same, or what has changed for you?
I've had some good.
That's exactly what he told me earlier.
Some good talking off the ledge here. I'm not a big fan of DeMarcus Cousins.
Neither am I.
I am a lesser fan of him coming off an Achilles in what I saw in the NBA playoffs. I did see him physically imposing a couple times. So if he gets to a point where he's comfortable moving and being athletic,
He's a very, very inconsistent player,
Yeah.
I'd say, too. And then it's his motor sometimes. I wonder if he's really, like, into a game or if he really cares about a game. Just some of his moves are a little sluggish to me. I don't think his back-to-the-back moves, like turning over his left shoulder, turning over his right shoulder. I mean, yes, he can shoot occasionally.
but he thinks
But
he's a guard.
just- yeah,
He does.
I don't.
He does.
I don't appreciate a lot of these 7-footers that have big bodies to like that can go
Bang.
down and bang, but they choose to sit outside and just play this finesse, just like. I'm a stretch 5. Technically, I'm a stretch 4. It's
Bro,
like,
he should be
dude, you
bullying
should just
every
be
center.
bullying people
Well, that
down on
size,
the
for
block.
sure.
And then especially if you're not as quick and you're kind of a slug right now, like he is, he's not very fast. He should be like Shaquille O'Neal dieseling it downside and just be like, hey man, just give me the ball and then turn over this, and then if I get doubled, I'll swing it back out, and then we'll get some ball movement going. But
It's an easy way to win basketball games.
From adding on to Chris's point, I'm just not sure, like chemistry wise, how he's just like. He just seems to be a little bit of a guy on the bench who kind of complains, whines, always has a look on his face like he's pissed or sad.
Hopefully playing with LeBron negates that, and he just goes to work. If DeMarcus Cousins just goes to work,
he can be.
He can help this team more than by losing Kawhi and adding DeMarcus Cousins for nothing. If DeMarcus Cousins comes like with blinders on, focus.
Yeah.
This is a better situation for the Lakers because of all the additional help they were able to get.
I'm glad you used the word chemistry with DeMarcus Cousins because that's what I wanted to hit. I told JD when you were still gone that I was going to bring this up because I was curious to see your point on it. And I think we should all be in agreement that what was the best version of Boogie Cousins that you've ever seen play?
It's obvious. You want to go?
Okay, the best version I've ever seen Boogie Cousins play was Sacramento with Isaiah Thomas. I thought when he was kind of the man and he was kind of the focal point, the center. They used to give him the ball more, and he got more touches, I felt like.
Okay, what were you going to go with?
As far as ability offensively, it was far and above. He was more impressive to me with the Pelicans when he was with Rondo and Anthony Davis.
That's what that was where I was going.
And the fact they have Rondo here, now obviously, they all know each other already. It's the chemistry's going to be fine. They're going to make the playoffs. Barring a LeBron injury, really,
and I think
even with Anthony Davis can carry this team on his shoulders to the playoffs.
And that's why I think the chemistry is such a perfect word because we've always had a problem with how Boogie kind of conducts himself,
is he
how he
buying
goes about
in?
his business.
Are
exactly.
you going to buy in?
In Sacramento,
is he bought in?
He was a one-man wrecking crew in Sacramento.
Right.
But they called him a locker room cancer. He was a problem with everything.
Carl Anthony Towns disease, just wants to go off and doesn't care about winning initially. But now he's like chasing rings.
But then you look at him when he goes to New Orleans and he was next to Anthony Davis, and when those two started to gel, they loved playing next to each other. They had great chemistry, man. They were dominating for a small stretch of that season right before Boogie's injury. They were dominating. The Pelicans were looking really good. And now that you have, Boogie coming off of the Achilles, but he's got an entire year's worth of rest on it. He only played like 20 games before he had the quad injury.
Right.
Then he only played a couple games in the finals, so now he gets the entire offseason again. You have LeBron, who this is JD's point, who's going to be the freshest he's ever been in the last 9 years. Played 20 games after January, didn't make the playoffs for the first time in 9 years.
Well, and
isn't doing any Olympic USA stuff.
This team is, from top to bottom, is far better than last year's team.
Oh
God,
my God.
Far better.
My God.
So that means that LeBron's
God.
going to have to play less. Is going to be able to play less minutes too, theoretically.
Well, I'm just worried because the West is just such a stacked this year. You got the Clippers, the Lakers. The Utah Jazz, the Rockets.
Yep. The Blazers, the Nuggets, the Warriors.
I mean, the Nuggets. Can I even throw the Nuggets?
They were 2 seed. You have to throw the Nuggets in there.
Who's going to sneak in as an 8 seed out there, right? Who's really going to be the team to take it over the top? We all know because if Russell Westbrook leaves Oklahoma City, they're out. They're out, right? So
I think that at this point, even if he's there,
they're
they're already
out.
They're not going to make it anymore.
No.
If you look at the landscape of the NBA now, there are 15 teams with the legitimate superstar duo.
Yeah.
OKC is no longer one of those teams.
No. Well, Steven Adams, technically.
I like Steven Adams. I do like Steven Adams, but
he's a great piece. His contract's a mess.
I think he'd be a great player on a different team.
Right.
He's great for Russell Westbrook too.
He doesn't mind letting him get off the board.
Maybe Russell Westbrook doesn't have a bad point at all. Maybe getting traded might be the best thing for him.
Now he just shoots it 50 times a game?
Yeah,
I can't wait to see.
At this point, what's a mad Russell Westbrook compared to a normal Russell Westbrook?
One more turnover in the fourth.
Yeah, just a bigger turnover. But so they have been talking.
He plays good for 3.5 quarters, and then the 4-minute mark comes in. It's just off the foot, off the backboard,
off the front of the rim,
off the back of the rim. Yeah. I don't know.
And
go ahead.
That ball goes everywhere but through the rim.
Yeah.
In the fourth quarter for Westbrook. But so they've been talking, ever since the Paul George trade, they've been talking about trading Russell Westbrook now.
Yes.
Yeah.
The big suitors that I've heard of thus far leading the way is the Heat.
Right.
And the Bucks.
The Bucks with another one. I know the Bulls have actually also been in on it as well.
What's your insight there?
Let me get to that after the Heat.
Go.
I hope that he goes to the Heat because Jimmy Butler went to the Heat, and I would love to see those two whiners play on the same team.
That's like the perfect. You know what? If they would have just signed DeMarcus Cousins, it would have been awesome.
Then it would have been the wines. The wine.
Jimmy Butler can't
The
stand when
South Beach Winas.
Jimmy Butler can't stand when he's not getting the ball, when he's not, the focal point of the offense, and nobody's working as hard as him, and then he's going to get to go play with Russ, who's always going to have the ball.
Yeah,
He's
so
gonna
how
get
does it
throwing
work?
shit
That's
up.
karma. That is karma
Like, how
rearing
does
its
that
ugly
work?
head.
You know what I mean? Like, how is that truly going to work though? Like, you're going to get two guys who are ball centric, who need the ball. And now you got a guy in Russell Westbrook who he's like,
He doesn't give up the ball.
Nah.
He's Kobe
not
syndrome
passing.
time.
Yeah.
He's Kobe syndrome times 10, and that's disrespectful to Kobe because Kobe was granted. Yeah, he did control the ball.
I'm glad you
for
said it
dominant
this
at the
time. You didn't
Yes.
make me
Oh,
say
it is.
it.
When I
Yeah.
compare him to the rest,
I don't know if you saw me freak out 2 weeks ago when he talked about Kobe. I don't know. You probably didn't see
nobody. I mean, nobody's going to deny that Kobe.
bean.
He held the ball a lot.
that. He earned that green light.
Yeah.
Russell Westbrook hasn't earned that
He
green
hasn't
light,
earned
bro.
shit
Come on,
like
dog.
that.
Come on.
Not shit like that. Nobody batted an eye after Kobe won 3 rings and decided, okay, I got the green light. If I want to put up 45 on 25, 30 shots, I'm going to do
Then
that.
guess
Would
what? He
you
ran 2 more.
Would you trade Avery Bradley, Danny Green,
You have
and
to.
Kyle Kuzma for Russell Westbrook?
Oh, Kuzma? No.
No. If I was the Lakers, I would not want that on my team.
No.
You don't think a Russell Westbrook LeBron James combo would be something fun to watch?
I can't get past the idea of I go back
That's a
to
pretty good question,
2013, 2014, 2012, where Russell Westbrook was leading the OKC Thunder in shots, shots taken per game. When you have Kevin Durant, probably the most prolific offensive scorer in the NBA at that time, and you got
Since
Russell
Kobe.
Westbrook taking more shots than him per game. I can't get behind that. Can't do it.
I through my Lakers everything, that I follow on IG, they were just mentioning that could be a possibility of Russell Westbrook wanting to come back to LA because he is from LA.
Yeah. I heard that would happen after January because some. Of the
I was
guys the
just hoping
Lakers
that maybe
signed.
we wait another year or two and we just try to get like James Harden.
You know how I will say
that's like something that I'm a big James Harden guy, so like I love his game. But
how
that's
that
just
might
me.
work is today it was reported that officially LeBron James will be playing point guard for the Lakers this
Yeah,
game.
yeah, it was yesterday,
They've already said that.
Smart.
If under the terms of that trade they make it very well understood to Russell Westbrook that he will be playing the 2 guard,
Nope.
then that's the only way that works.
No,
Yeah.
give me Corver on a
And
vet.
LeBron
Give me,
stays number
give me
1.
Corver on a vet minimum at 38, standing in the corner, dude.
I agree.
All I need.
100%. I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's not even hard.
The Lakers do not need
You
Russell
want to talk
Westbrook.
about? You want to talk about cancer, dude?
Westbrook. Oh yeah, I agree with you. Biggest Westbrook hater.
Hugest, like maybe the
You know who
most
he reminds
athletic
me of?
and physically imposing guard in the entire NBA, maybe ever.
A
But
better
he is
Monte
just-
Ellis. He's a better
Monte.
Russell Westbrook, right?
It's a
He's
good-
right. He's a better Monte.
It's a
Ellis.
good segue, actually, but Monte Ellis is a better shooter.
Yeah, that's for
And
sure.
they're both
he
Captain
played
Jack.
he played on much worse teams too, so he kind of had to be Captain Jack.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I just think it's funny though because someone was comparing into his game similar to Monte Ellis's. I just think obviously Monte Ellis wasn't the type of volume shooter that
Definitely
you
not.
know that he
He's
is.
a much better shooter,
that
but
Russell
Westbrook
is.
can get to the rim whenever he wants.
But the athleticism and just Russell Westbrook tenacity, defense, rebounds, just that's maybe where Monte Ellis
That
different.
segues perfectly into the next point, and that is Monte Ellis and Amari Stoudemire. Amari Stoudemire for sure was playing in Big 3 recently. They both tried out and just tried out for the Lakers, Warriors, and Knicks, were present for those tryouts. So we may still see some shifting going on with that Lakers roster.
do you guys
do
want
you
either of those
Give
guys?
me Monte Ellis.
You want
I will
Monte
take
Ellis?
Monte.
I think that
Monte.
I think that Amari Stoudemire would be a better fit than Monte Ellis for the Lakers team, personally. I think that he would actually be a good kind of veteran presence for Boogie
how
and
old
for
is
Anthony Davis.
Stoudemire
He's gotta be
now?
like 30,
Yeah, my
37.
37.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And he ain't going to play, bro. JaVale McGee will get run before Amari Stoudemire does. But if they were to bring in one of those two guys, for me, it would be Amari.
Amari, yeah, and I watched Amari Stoudemire play with my dad. Shout out to Big Rick, my dad. He used to play at
best
University of Pennsylvania.
best
He was
power
a-
forward we know.
He was a big time baller back in the day. But we went and watched Amari Stoudemire play the summer when they were still holding it at Long Beach State, and we were down there watching the Big Pyramid. If you guys have ever been down
I've
there,
played
and seen
there.
we were down there, and I had never seen a guy just dunk on people with just such ferociousness, tenacity, the way he used to play. I was always a huge Amari Stoudemire. When Amari Stoudemire was on the Suns with Steve Nash, they had Grant Hill, Jason Richardson. I mean, dude, he was a force.
He jumps off a springboard.
They reminded me of what
John...
John...
6'10", he jumps off a springboard. Or he used, obviously used to. But.
If what John Stockton and Karl Malone were like what people compare them, and how they ran that pick and roll, I would compare that to, for me, I didn't get to see them as much, was like Amari Stoudemire and Steve Nash.
They didn't have the longevity, but those 2 or 3 year window when Amari was in his his prime, because they were fun to watch. As soon as his athleticism went, he was one of those guys that wasn't able to rely on their game once their athleticism was gone.
And that's just always the sad thing to see. Some of these players,
some guys' games translate. Kyrie's one of them. Luka will translate once the athleticism is gone, but not all of them.
Who's won't? Westbrook.
Well, we talked about it in 8 years. Who's more likely? On one of the early episodes, we talked about it. Who's more likely to be in the league 8 years from now, Steph Curry or Westbrook? And it's obvious that it's Steph Curry.
Yeah.
The moment that Westbrook can't beat you off the dribble, or he just isn't, he doesn't have the athleticism to get into the lane and hang up in the air for 3 seconds.
And that's the biggest thing. Look at how quickly Chris Paul declined. Oh. And the same thing's happening. Yeah. It's right around the corner for Russ.
Oh, yeah.
It's right around the corner.
Tear. I mean, and I don't ever wish an injury on anybody, but it takes one bad step, one wrong jump. And if something else goes on him, man, he's 31?
Yeah. He's 29, 30. He's like that, yeah.
He's getting up there, man.
It's happening.
Once you turn that 30 age.
Yeah,
then what's he going to do? He's going to run into the same problem that Iverson ran into. Sorry to do that to you, but it's true. I know.
That's true. And I would sad. Let me hit that, because I didn't hit that on that episode.
Sure.
If you did watch the previous episode where we talked about Kobe and Allen Iverson and comparing the two and whatnot.
Screaming.
Let me change where I said top 3, top 10.
Okay.
I'm changing the top 10. But I still do think...
You don't get points for doing what you're supposed to.
I still do say that if he played in this generation, he would be an even better player than he was back in the day.
Who, Allen Iverson?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. If Allen Iverson played in today's game, he might average 35 a game. And I'm not because it's just off pure skill, off pure, just his game, dude. He was so much quicker. He could shoot the ball. And I think an underrated thing about Allen Iverson was his defense a little bit. He used to get steals, and he would be pesky and
he always
and be a defender that would just kind of annoy you.
He's a little 6-foot bastard that could get into the lane.
But I was always just a huge fan of not only his dope Allen Iverson shoes, but just his overall demeanor, dude. The
questions,
the sweatbands over the fingers, I wore one of those. the armband, just
he was the first one that
thing to
he
really
brought swag into the game.
Totally.
And the braids. It's not me anymore. All right, so would he be better in today's game than Steph Curry?
Oh, if he could be the volume shooter like Steph Curry, I think he might stand a chance. Steph Curry's like a generational type shooter. I've never seen someone who genuinely can pull up off the dribble, go between his legs, around his back, and still have the touch.
Guard in the second he comes over the court.
Yeah,
I think if you allowed Allen Iverson to play in a Steve Kerr, loosey-goosey type system, where
I don't think it would translate, man. It's me.
Didn't
he play for Larry Brown?
Yeah, I just think he was like a miniature Kobe, and Kobe always says, thank God Allen Iverson wasn't 5 inches taller, or whatever. And it's just that, because seriously, dude, he was like that big of a killer, when he got on the court and he was trying to just, snatch your heart out, as like they say, or whatever.
And that's why I said top 3. And I realized that might have been a little egregious putting him up that high. And I think top 10's a little bit better. But I do still stand by what I said of Allen Iverson playing in today's league. He would be better.
Yes.
Top 10 player by far in the NBA history.
I think Steve Nash, someone like that, if he were to be in today's game, he would have excelled maybe in today's game like this too. In their prime,
too. Yeah.
It's like there's
hard
just...
teams would have been able to double him.
Yeah.
And also, man, again, yeah, he could shoot, but
not as good as Steph Curry.
He wasn't a sharp.
All
right, so we talk about it. He wasn't a sharp. He was much more of like a shot creating
mid-range
player. In 2K, what would you get? What would you give him?
Pure shot creator.
Pure shot creator.
Pure shot creator.
100%. And that's your build, isn't it?
No, I'm a shot creating sharp.
But he would be. God, dude, I just remember like when the Lakers were playing him back in the day, and they were just battling, and like Allen Iverson would still go off like every game. It just literally, you look at that team around him. Eric Snow.
Okay, hold up. I want to address this real quick. That's perfect. I don't want to hear about his team because that year in 01, they also had the sixth man of the year in Aaron McKee.
Oh, yeah.
And they had an additional all-star, Theo Ratliff.
Oh, that just shows you. Hey, do you know who Theo Ratliff is?
Moving on.
Do you remember Aaron McKee?
I know. I don't know.
You remember Theo Ratliff?
No.
He was second to Mutombo as shot blockers in the generation. He was a serious defensive center.
The problem with that Sixers team, though, was besides Iverson, like not a single other person on the team could score.
So why for 8 years
Lakers,
did nobody else come to play with him? Because he has Russell Westbrook syndrome?
Because they not only does he have Russell Westbrook syndrome, he loves Russell Westbrook. So that just shows you that he emulated, Russell Westbrook emulates his game somewhat off Allen Iverson.
I can't argue with you on that. I mean, that could very well be true.
I mean,
could very well be true. Whether it's true or not, I don't know.
I wasn't there. Social media wasn't around
sucks,
then.
Dude, because he went to, and then he got bounced around. And then with the Nuggets, he was pretty good for a little bit. But then him and Carmelo, and then we could get into a whole Carmelo segment because I think he's probably one of the most underrated small forwards of all time.
That entire debate started with the argument is today's generation as physical as the 80s, 90s generation. And what I had said originally was that AI's career would have lasted longer and he would have been better in this generation because he wouldn't have taken so much punishment.
Yeah,
because he was a big-time paint guy. He would get into the paint and get to the bucket.
But they can double him now. They can box and one him now.
Yeah.
And that's why I think
it
goes both ways.
But then he would have been getting more foul calls too because they call ticky-tack, little hand checks. They call little stuff going down the middle. And when you're an elite top 10, 15 player in the league, you get calls.
And that's just what it's all about. I actually looked this up after that episode too. To go along with that point, I believe he is third all-time. Now, it was tough. I could only go through so many fucking basketball reference stats, right?
Right.
I believe he was third all-time behind Wilt Chamberlain and it might have been Karl Malone or one other person in free throw attempts per game throughout his entire career.
James Harden is going to shatter
that record, yeah.
I'm going to talk about it now. I want to bring it up later, but on Basketball Reference, I saw the coolest stat ever. And it was, there's like an algorithm that Basketball Reference made that gives Hall of Fame percentage like the Hall of Fame percentage.
Yeah, they have it on all of them. They have it on all the different
When I
references.
saw that, it blew my mind because you got to see guys that had like a 20% chance of getting in, like that are already in, and then a bunch of guys at the top of the list, like going through that. I don't remember. I think like Chris Paul was essentially a lock. He was like 99.8% to be in. But I thought that was really unique to look at.
Those are always cool.
Yeah, I hadn't run across that before.
But so let's get back to Russ. We've kind of been on. Actually, no, we don't really have to go to Russ, do we? We kind of hit that enough, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, really, I
could talk about the Chicago thing. Don't come to the Bulls. We don't want you. If you come there, great. We're going to make the playoffs and get bounced in the first round.
And to jump on to to just totally flip subject, did you guys watch that home run derby last night?
I was filming.
It was purely, maybe the last real good home run derby I saw.
Josh Hamilton.
Well, that's the record they got broke.
Josh Hamilton was a good one, but like I really can't think of other than like last night. I mean, dude, they were going. Jock Peterson and Vlad Guerrero Jr. were just going toe to toe, and Guerrero Jr. That guy was wasn't
it crazy that
him smacking the ball, dude?
Crazy though, that's a flaw that the home run derby has is that Peterson hit 31 home runs less than Vlad, but because of the way that it shook out,
the whole system,
So he didn't even make it to Vlad didn't make it to the final. He hit 91 home runs.
Vlad made it.
Oh, did he? Wait, who did he play against? He didn't play against Peterson. I thought that Peterson knocked him out.
They went in the semis. No, they went together in the semis.
I can break it down for you real
Please.
quick. I love the new format.
Okay.
Now this is a problem that you have. # Pete Alonso, not my champ. Get that going. And I'll explain why.
I picked him to win before, by the way. Yes.
Well, he had by far the easiest road to win. Because
did he win?
No. Oh, yes, he did. He did. # not my champion. Okay. But the second round with Vlad and Jock Peterson was by far probably the most astonishing, biggest spectacle in the home run derby I've ever watched. It blew Josh Hamilton out of the water because you had Vlad come in. So the way it works now is there's 4 to each side. Okay, there's 8
AL,
to 4. No, it's just random.
Okay. Is there anything? Is there a detractor that places them against each other?
They're just seeded 1 through 8.
Most home runs through least home runs?
I don't believe so. I think they just put
They
them
just
1
kind of
through
put it
8.
in a hat or something.
So you have 4 on each side, and then it's specific matchups. You have 4 minutes to hit as many home runs as you can. You get 1 break, and then if you win, you go to the next round, so on and so forth. Yeah. So Vlad came out and fucking destroyed round 1. He hit 28 in round 1.
Yeah,
just
29.
No, I think 29 was round 2.
Okay.
Round 1, I think, was 28.
Gotcha.
but he's just towering.
But just 470, 460, just fucking mammal shots.
Yeah.
And Matt Chapman did his best. He was out there with his pops. His pop was kind of missing the zone, so Chapman lost, right? Then you have in the opposite side of that bracket, you had Jock Peterson versus who was it? Who the hell did he beat in round 1? You had Jock Peterson played somebody in round 1 that I can't think of right now.
It wasn't Acuna.
No, Acuna played Bell. Pete Alonso was versus Carlos Santana, and then there was one freaking more. Can't remember who it was. It was Alex Bregman.
There you go.
It was Bregman.
I knew that.
Couldn't
think of it though.
Jock Peterson came out, hit 21 home runs. I think Bregman hit 16. So they both advanced. Acuna actually had a great first round advance, beat Josh Bell, which was a big upset. Then you had Pete Alonso and Carlos Santana's first rounds were god awful. Carlos Santana hit 13, and Pete Alonso barely squeaked past with 14. Yeah. But round 2, that semifinal with Vlad versus Jock Peterson. Vlad comes out because he's the 8th seed, hits 29 home runs, which beats Josh Hamilton's record. Beats it.
What was it?
28.
Yeah.
And then Jock Peterson fucking ties it.
He hit 29 also?
He hit 29 also on, almost beat it.
Yeah.
His last swing at 0 seconds, it hit the top of the wall. I called it, he Bregman'd it because Bregman kept hitting the top of the wall. He's just too small.
Why is it that we only care about the home run derby? Why don't we see how fast guys can run the bases? Why don't we see how fast
like a
people
skills
can turn a double play?
Because chicks did.
Why don't we put outfielders in the outfield and we just hit a bunch of fly balls to them and we see who the best outfielder is?
Because chicks dig the long ball, bro.
I think that's where and I'm down with the long ball, baby. I can hit it too, baby. Hey, but it's one of those things where I think you have to start making the All-Star game a little more fun, right? Like in the NBA, they do a skills challenge.
Why
There's
not
a three-point contest. There's all this kind of
why
stuff.
don't they shoot ground balls at the hot corner out of a cannon at
out
these
of a cannon.
motherfuckers?
We see how fast they can turn a double play, or we see there's certain plays
who could throw the ball the farthest from the outfield or something.
Hashtag new All-Star format.
So let's go hashtag skills All-Star
Hashtag
baseball
All-Star
game.
skills.
Yeah,
But then-
yeah.
Interesting story just dropped. Breaking news. Nets GM Sean Marks says that he found out that Kevin Durant was coming to the Nets via Instagram, and there was no official meeting until after that.
So are they going to call
Kevin
tampering?
Durant.
No, he just never met with anybody. He just
Kevin Durant, the snake, Durantula. He really kind of. You want to talk about someone marching to the beat of their own drum? That's freaking Kevin Durant for you, because I've never seen a guy who just kind of leaves people hanging. He kind of he's like the guy at the party, who's like, hey, we need you to bring ice or something to the party. And then he just
doesn't even show up.
He doesn't even show up. And it's like, dude, we were making margaritas tonight. We needed some help, man. And so he just kind of,
hey, we got margarita juice.
Yeah, I guess we're taking straight shots tonight, boys. So
That's the Instagram.
it's just so
For sure. I was thinking the same thing.
so funny to me, because I just feel like every time, and it's like he's always, and then he's gets mad at everyone else for being like, hey man, all you had to do is just say something to someone. He's like, well, I can do whatever I want. I'm Kevin Durant. You guys are all assuming this. Why don't you tell the real story and paint it out? It's like, why don't you just give us the real story, man? Instead of everyone having to lie for you and you make up all these excuses, So that's why sometimes I just get frustrated with him, because it's like, dude, and yes, man, you are important in the sports world. We all get it or whatever, but you're not the most important thing.
Well, I think that we, the media, put too much of a precedence on winning titles.
Right.
And he understood that, and that's something that he tried to do. And he
But
succeeded.
he did it in such a shitty
But
way.
what he did was took the value of championships away.
Yeah. And what he did also is kind of just put this whole precedent out. If you're not happy, go somewhere that's going to make you happy. Go play with your friends, go play with your buddies, however it is going to make you happy. And it's like, dude, I thought getting $15 million was happy enough. So, I mean, right. The value and how these players do stuff. It's just Now it's almost created parity, though, which is a good thing, I think.
I think it's really good for the
because
NBA.
Now you have a bunch of people who are like, well, I only want to play with my friend. Like, I don't want to play with these other guys. So it's like, all right, cool. Now we're not going to get, like a Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron James type super
We're not going to
team.
get the big threes. We'll get some duos.
We'll get some
duos is cool, man.
Which is
Duos
why
is
we
good.
need that. Right. Totally.
When you look at it, it's deep. There's 16 teams that make the playoffs, and 15 teams have a legitimate dynamic duo. That's a whole playoff bracket, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, now you have two thin-skinned guys in Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant going to a hostile New York media with a Brooklyn. I mean, they literally think that no one's gonna really ask them questions and like ponder into pry into their life or whatever. It's like, man, you guys got to realize, dude, like this is what we do. This is what we do.
They're gonna make Joe Harris an all-star this year.
Hey, Joe Buckets, don't you sleep on that man. That man's a rifle.
Sniper, bro. Easy money sniper.
I mean, he's right with everything he said, man. I will still say, and I've said it since it happened, that his legacy, in my opinion, is tarnished. And I think you're right with saying that he's totally parodied or devalued, the meaning of championships by doing it. So maybe in essence, it was a blessing in disguise.
Totally.
It depends on which way you look at it, because you can look at it either way. You can say it's better for the NBA or it's worse for the NBA. It all just depends on what side of the argument you really reside or want to reside on. Because you can argue both sides, and there's not a right answer or a wrong answer.
And I'm fine with his legacy being tarnished because it was a snake move.
I mean, if he goes to Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, it has
and
to.
he wins a ring with the Nets. Does it change the narrative about Kevin Durant being a ring chaser? I mean, I thought that this move already made him not look like a ring chaser anymore to me. It actually helped his cause.
I think that change of scenery is good for a lot of guys. And I think this is a situation with all the stuff that happened in the playoffs. Did the Warriors lie to him? Did they not? Did they, whatever. He needed a change of scenery. Does this help the narrative of him not being a ring chaser?
This is what I'll say.
Probably.
Probably.
And it probably...
I would say it does.
But do you see Kevin Durant winning another championship?
No.
Right.
But this is how the way I'm going to look at it myself, because I try to be the least hypocritical as I possibly can be.
It's hard. It's
so
hard,
hard.
but that's why we sit here and talk about things.
And I still, to this day, will say from when LeBron left Cleveland and went to the Miami Heat, that was ring chasing, and I do devalue those rings a little bit when you want to argue the whole greatest of all time thing, right? But when he went back to Cleveland, I took that away. I said, that is legitimate. That was like, he did that shit on his own. He didn't, granted, he still had Kyrie and Kevin Love to come back 3-1, to go back to your hometown and do it there and bring
Cleveland. You can't take away
championship.
9 straight Eastern Conference final championships, man.
No, and I'm not taking that away.
No, I know you're not.
And what I'm saying is that I gave LeBron the credit then, and if Kevin Durant was to do that in Brooklyn, I would give Kevin Durant
constant reassessment of and reevaluation of everything that's going on. Right?
I'd have to give him some credit.
It's not. We can change our mind. We can change our tune.
I just the thing about Kevin Durant is I think his game is just so incredibly sick. He really is just so nasty out there. The things he can do at 7 foot. And just being able to beat guys off the dribble that are, like 6'3", 6'4" guys, and he's that quick still. It's like,
is he still going to be able to, though, is the question.
I hope for all of our sakes, man. Sometimes everyone just kind of gets mad at these guys and portrays them all the villains. It's like, dude, well then who do we watch? I don't want to go out and watch Sasha Pavlovich, or I don't want to go watch, some
We're not here to watch
Dragic for
KCP.
the Miami Heat. Yeah, I'm not here to watch and that's where it's fun because they're a fun villain. You need them. You need them. I just think that Kyrie Irving, I'll jump onto Kyrie Irving because I think Kyrie Irving won't even. Looking back, he'll think that the biggest mistake I think he'll ever made was just leaving LeBron. Yep. And I truly think he's just gonna realize, man, that being a leader of a team is not hard. It's not easy, man. It's not
he's already admitted
it's not
to
hard.
it,
No, but I'm just saying it's not easy though to just. You got to get you and Kevin Durant are going to be the only ones shooting the ball every night, right?
Yeah.
You got Spencer Dinwiddie, Joe Harris, whatever, someone.
And Jared Allen.
DeAndre Jordan.
It's just one of those things, where I'm be careful what you ask for and be careful what you wish for, because sometimes the best things for you weren't always the easiest things. When it comes to relationship or whatever. I'm not saying everyone has to get along. You got to be best friends. But you got to realize that sometimes you just play better with someone else, right?
Yeah.
Even if I don't
They
like the guy,
complemented each other.
if I go out and I play,
it's the Shaq and Kobe
2-on-2
thing.
with Chris Stockwell at the park, I know Chris's game, Chris knows my game, and it's going to be a pretty easy thing to just translate and get along with. But I just don't know when you have two guys like Kyrie Irving and Durant who just need the ball in their hand all the time. It's like, I don't know how that works. They don't come off picks all the time. They're not like someone who moves without the ball very
They're
well.
more ISO guys, both
They're
of them.
totally ISO guys. So I just wonder, you get away with that on in the East, but in the West, when you got to play a real team, like maybe the Lakers,
The narrative
which is, I hope, a Laker Brooklyn next 2 years, that would be great for basketball.
The narrative will change
They would
though.
wreck
If
the Nets.
you see Brooklyn, in the semifinals or just making the playoffs, essentially, the narrative will change. Kevin Durant won't be the villain.
No.
He's gonna be he'll be rooted for
Well,
because he went to that. He'll be with the
and that's the
Nets.
one thing, that injury.
He went to the injury he's dealing with.
It made people feel for him, and
Yeah.
he's the injury, that thing that happened first, and then him coming back and then getting hurt again. People don't feel that same hatred towards him. He's already
No.
becoming more liked and more accepted and more appreciated now.
And I hate to keep making the same thing and going back to LeBron, but it's the same thing that when he went back to Cleveland. That was one hell of a story when he went back to Cleveland to do it for those fans. Like, he admitted his villainy, by going to Miami and leaving Cleveland and never winning a championship there, and then went back for them. Like, that was a great story in winning one there. That's the same thing I think will happen for Durant.
I think if
they do
Kevin
well.
Durant would have gone back to like Washington D.C., where he was truly from, and like really resurrected just a franchise that they might be in the running. They might be in the running for top lottery pick. The Wizards, the Knicks, the Hornets.
Don't disrespect my Bulls. We'll be down there too.
You guys will pick at 7 again. Don't worry.
Just good enough.
If you play your cards right, and you really tank the right way, and you do this kind of stuff, you could end up finding yourself just quality prospect, quality player. So.
Speaking of the Bulls, did you see that dunk on some no-name summer league Bulls player yesterday on the dude from the Pelicans, Jason? What's his name? Jason Hex
Or Jackson Hayes.
Jackson Hayes. Yep. Can we kick that guy off the summer league team? He obviously doesn't need to be out here. He needs to. Yeah, okay. Here's your pink slip. You're
I was more impressed, not impressed or really even amazed, but just happy with the fact that Taco Fall actually is getting some good
Dude, he
runs
looks
for
like
the
he could be pretty
Celtics.
And then for the Celtics, here's another steal that they got, Carson Edwards. Right?
I don't even know who that is.
You should know who Carson Edwards was. Last year, he was leading the whole league.
What school did he go to?
Purdue.
Oh,
he was a Boilermaker.
Big Ten guy.
I mean, I
But see,
don't
here's
know
the
the
thing.
name, but I knew Purdue was. They were
Here's
three
the
seed
thing,
last year in the
right?
team.
So in the NBA, we always have this thing about guys are just like, well, like I don't know if it'll translate. I don't know if like 26 points a game translate to the NBA. And it's like, really? Last time I checked, the court's the same. Everything's about the same. Maybe the 3-point line's a little bit further, right? It's a little bit different. Right. But the guy literally was scoring all the time, and he gets drafted second round. Whereas, you have like certain guys, like I'm trying to think who got drafted this year where I was like, well, really? Like top 10 pick, like his game didn't translate at all. Like, I mean, yes, you want to say Darius Garland, right? The kid from Vanderbilt who didn't play at all.
But I don't know how he goes at that point. Like I get it, but he was hurt all year,
Right.
And he is a lower percentage shooter than some of these other guys. But he's a distributor. I know you're high on him.
I still
I liked
understand though the concept of like if a guy is a baller in Division I college basketball, and then like all of a sudden you think his game won't translate to the NBA. I'm sure there's a million examples people can give me of things. But sometimes you just look at a player and you just know, man, like size rather or not, you just see it, give it the eye test, and like sometimes everyone wants to put, numbers on it, right?
Not
Numbers
everybody
don't tell
can.
the story,
Not
right?
everybody can grade the eye test, man.
No,
that's something
And so
that
it's
you
just
have
one
to
of those
be
things
around
where
the
I'm like
game.
happy for that guy, dude, because I'm like, yeah, man, like and the shots he was creating and hitting, and then you got a Taco Fall in there, like we were talking about. It's like their summer league team is stacked.
There was a picture, man, of him. He got the ball under the hoop, and everybody. He's got like two guys around him like this.
Dude, it's like 3 feet, dude. He doesn't even
He doesn't
have
have
to
to jump. He just
Not
puts the
at
ball in
all.
the hoop. Like, that should be a contributor easily year one. Easily.
Yeah.
We're
Just
waiting on
bring him
one
in
more
off the
note
bench
here.
for 5 to 7 minutes a game,
China, you guys saw that though, right? They beat the Hornets last night in Summer League. The Chinese national team. I don't know if it's their true national
Did
team.
they have Yao Ming playing for them? Oh, man.
All I know is my boy from Reno got crossed up by one of their point
what's
guards.
his name?
The Martin brother, one of the Martin.
Cody or Caleb Martin.
I forgot which one it is, but he just got
nominee.
snatched.
TLS.
The Hornets. Man, I feel bad for them. Was Terry Rozier playing in that game?
Yeah, to say who was
Yeah,
on the
then come on,
squad.
man.
Come on,
Yeah, no.
You're talking about the country's best players versus G League guys, maybe?
In the same league, J.R. Smith averaged 55-25.
Oh, man. So apparently
Here's the
J.R.
thing.
Smith averaged
Will the
55
Hornets-
points in that
Will the
league.
Hornets ever be good? Will they ever be good?
I don't think so.
Will Michael Jordan ever just like
Suit up?
figure out how to be a GM?
I'll tell you
though, and,
one
like,
thing,
get-
there's no GOAT argument when it comes to owners/GMs. Michael Jordan, not in the conversation.
not even close. Maybe he's in the WOT, worst of all time.
For
dude.
real.
You know,
I think you said, would you say
Jeez.
Dolan?
Yeah, I have to
He's
put
gotta
Dolan.
be
I've
up
got to
there.
put Dolan over him. But, you know.
Scored 91 on these guys last year. Or 70, was it 70?
I just feel like I could
Griffin's
get us.
gotta be there, too.
I feel like I could get us three, and then maybe some really good dudes at the YMCA, and we could
Go
run
beat
that
China.
China team, dude. And we could run China.
Just go-
straight up. I'll take them. You can hear me now when I say it. Meet me down at Doolittle, D Street, and MLK.
No, they're not ready for
and we
that.
are taking
They're
you
not ready for
down.
that. That's our home court, dude. Come on now. We're playing at home, baby.
They're going to be driving there like,
Yeah, China will be
What
there.
is this?
Wow. This isn't Shanghai
can I get,
anymore,
can
is
I
it,
get
boys?
the first flight back?
They won't even go.
Yeah, this is how our good players. This is how they get really good over here, China. You live
Play
down
at
here
Doolittle.
and
Play at Doolittle, man, on D Street in Lake Mead.
I just think it's funny though. You know, the game really has evolved. Like Croatia had a team too there, and I don't know how well they did, but at least
Zubac
the
is
summer
on
league.
that
At least
team.
the summer league is opening itself up though, and letting some of these like other big European basketball programs or whatever come over and try to play, man. Because like
At the end of the day, they're
I
evolving
truly
the
feel
game.
like the game. When we always say world champions, I technically don't view it as that sometimes because it's hard when you don't
Yo.
play the best in the world.
So-
But
No, this is America.
it is.
Therefore, we're the world champions.
Yo.
Back-to-back world war champions, baby.
You know how soccer works,
Totally.
all right? He hates it. I'm waiting for the... Yeah, there we go. When will there be...
A world tournament.
Yes.
Oh, a basketball world tournament?
It should be.
I thought that we already had one. It was
Well,
the Olympics.
Not the
I-
World Cup, not FIBA. No. I mean, FIBA is national. No, I'm talking about how
and we win that too.
in Europe soccer there is like the
Champions
there's
League.
Champions
Oh, you're
League.
talking
about the different
Champions
leagues?
League.
Yeah. Like
Yes.
in each league, you have to win your league
you're
in order to make it to
if
the
you're
top
top
league.
4 in Bundesliga, in La Liga, in
Premier
Premier
League,
League,
Then you
go to
and
the
there's other
Champions
ones,
League.
then those top 4 of all of those
Yeah,
leagues
make it
play
in-
in Champions League.
Which
I
is
would
like
love to see LeBron James and the Lakers play in a Champions League versus all the other champions from across the world, and we win every game 137.
Well, not
to
only
40.
that, but play a best of 7. Because that's the big thing. Is like because these guys are like
Just get
literally
the
like
brooms.
because these guys are literally like, oh well, like we might beat you like one game. It's like okay, yeah, one game, but like, can you beat me 3 more times? And the answer to that is no.
I don't even know if they would lose one time
They'd
versus
get-
any of them.
We'd
I mean,
start
you could
making
put
brooms.
Barcelona. I mean, you can take some of the clubs over there, Real Madrid, and then they have some good basketball programs over there as well as soccer teams too, right? Like they both feed off each other.
They're
however it
they're
works.
the same organization essentially.
It's just to me though, I just truly would like to see that for me one day. So then you could officially just declare that, be like, "Yo, man, we truly were."
Well, and I think aside from the talent gap, which is obvious.
Well, that's kind of my thing. Is
That's
look
right.
at all the players that come from these leagues. You
But
got
it's
Goran Dragic, you
bigger
got
than-
Nikola Mirotic.
right.
You
but
know,
it's going to help the game evolve even more
For
and
them.
become even more
Yeah,
international.
yeah.
I mean,
for
there's
them.
some truth to that. There's some truth to
And
that.
it would be fun to see, like, I would love to see LeBron and the Lakers go into a hostile environment in Barcelona. where
Spain?
the fans are just like
Ukraine,
crazy, yeah, or
Moscow,
just-
Russia.
yeah. Just let's see him get down, right? Let's see him play.
I want to see
So,
Vladimir Putin sitting up there while
I-
LeBron James is just dunking on some Russians.
yeah, I just hope that that
Olympics.
we just get the game.
Yeah,
That's national though. That's
Here's the
it's-
thing about the
it's
Olympics,
nations.
though. It's not even fair. The Olympics aren't even fair when you have like LeBron and Kevin Durant on the same team. It's like, dude, it's like in 2K. when
Imagine
you,
if
like,
all of
just
those
stack
guys.
your
Imagine
team.
if all those guys grew up playing soccer. Would we have the best soccer team in the nation?
Yes.
In the world?
I think
Yes.
I think no matter what sport you want to pick,
If all of our
if
players played
if
one
that was
sport.
a focus of our nation, we would dominate in that. Sport.
Dominate women's soccer.
And it's not
That's a
and
prime
Dominate.
example.
I don't
Dominate.
even mean
Yeah.
that necessarily as like a knock to the other countries or some type of
Totally,
patriotism or nationalism or anything like that. we have 300 million plus people that live in this country, so we have a lot of fucking people.
And not only that, there's freedom
based on the numbers
for
game.
those people to do whatever they want to. Like in some other countries too, it's like you have to be like an upper tier person in order to get a privilege to even like have spare time to play soccer or football or whatever it is. Like, you know, not trying to throw any shade or whatever, but sometimes some families just don't have anything over there, right? So like your whole life you're working just to get by. Whereas, you know, your family had money in, you know, Sri Lanka or whatever it was, you know, you literally are going to like be allowed to play football or, you know, basketball or whatever it might be because you're allowed more time. So I just think that's why our players will always be the best. And then like even the Olympics, like we're always going to have the most well-rounded too because like we genuinely care about sports. Like sports are what we care about.
In our entertainment
It's American.
industry.
Yeah, it's like the best thing about us.
And on top of all of that, we've had probably, how long would you say we've had the best athletes for? Since probably 1942, 1932?
22.
Yeah, since we
I'm
fought
going
the
since, like,
Revolutionary
yeah,
War.
Since we won the
Since we were the United States of America.
since we
damn it.
needed to use our athleticism to win the war on the train of the East Atlantic coast.
Since we were throwing musket balls down muskets, dude, and just
Since we were
just
taking over
clapping.
airports back in 1777.
Since Mel Gibson came in from The Patriot and just destroyed like 20 people in the woods by himself, he's like, I'm like a ghost.
But-
when I shoot the first shot, you stay down. Just like, it's just wild.
So we've had these, you know, the top athletic men and women for the last 300 years. And who have those top athletes been mating with? Oh, other top athletes. So like our genetic pool of athletes has just
Are
been
just getting
slowly growing
crazy.
and growing and growing.
Yeah.
Did Mia Hamm and Nomar have a kid?
They got twins, I believe. Twin girls.
They played
I remember
soccer.
correctly.
They played soccer.
Oh,
for
they'll
show.
be on that national team eventually.
Yeah.
Dirty.
That women's team, man.
Yeah, I don't think that women's national team gets enough love, and we need to show it right here because that was huge, man. They literally had a target on their back the whole time. They were like the Golden State Warriors, you know, like literally everyone knew that they were going to make it all the way. But that's a lot of pressure, man. Sometimes, like, and I don't care what sport it is, whether I won 4 state championships at Faith Lutheran playing against, you know, Virgin Valley, Moapa Valley, and Dayton, you know, like whatever. Like we were assumed that we were going to go to the state championship every time, but it's like a lot of pressure to live up to expectation.
Well, everybody
right?
brings
and, like,
their
win.
best towards
And
you, too.
everybody brings their A game.
Yeah,
and
everybody
they play
wants to
against
beat
you.
Oh, yeah,
you.
I'm
You're
sorry
the
to throw
target.
that in there. Yes, I am a 4-time state champion. I also was going to say that all 4 years we beat the same team in the state championship, and in no way am I ashamed of that. Dayton, you can't stop us, baby.
What school is it?
Dayton High School in Dayton, Nevada. If you want to look it up,
Where?
think town of about
You can't find it.
3,000 people, a little bit east of Reno. So, yeah.
Not even Sparks.
Yeah, it's not even Sparks.
It's not.
So
They're not even good enough
I
to
don't
be
know
Sparks.
if we even count them, but you know, sometimes
that ring counts.
yeah, it ain't. Don't mean a thing
But yeah,
if you
man.
ain't got the ring, baby.
Back-to-back World Cup champions. Like, I mean,
Yeah, it was
regardless of
great.
your views
Yeah.
on women's sports, I don't care. Like the women's soccer team deserves respect, and they deserve to make more
And
money.
the way they play too, it's like they're nutmegging girls. They're doing step overs. We're getting headers in the goal. It's like not even that we're just dominating, but we're like showing the world like, yeah, our girls play.
I've
like,
said this a
pretty
long
The
time.
question
world-class.
was posed to me the other day was, would they beat the men's team?
I honestly think that they would put up a fight.
no.
I think they would put up a fight. I don't think they would win.
And it's
It'd be fun
sad.
to watch,
It would
but
be, it would be fun. But then again,
This ain't a Marvel movie.
yeah. Sorry, ladies. We're not going to take it easy
I
on
don't-
them this time.
But the men's team kind of sucks.
Dude, yeah. I mean, dude, they just played in the Gold Cup championship against Mexico, and we lost 1-0. But hey, man, Mexico's pretty good at
They've
soccer.
had our
you know,
That was their
so-
They own
that was
us.
their B team, from what I read too. That wasn't even like the true Mexico team.
I don't
that
even.
they
I
threw
don't
out
even
there
think
for the World Cup.
Chicharito played.
Yeah,
I mean, they had a few guys like
We are
Guardado and
bad.
Ochoa, their goalie was pretty good. But, you know, like when we have Christian Pulisic and he's our best player, and, you know, God, I love him, but he's only, you know, 5'8", 5'9", and he's supposed to be the savior of all this, which is not.
Weston McKinney,
you know,
McKinley.
McKinney.
he really showed out.
Yeah.
And he's climbing, man. He's only like 20 also.
Yeah, we just also have a lot of guys that are young too. But I mean, as much as I was talking mess about Christian Pulisic, here's a guy who's probably selling, $100 million contract to go play soccer. So I mean, it is what it is.
Did he officially go to Chelsea?
Chelsea? Yeah, I know I think he's on Chelsea. So
Shit, that's cool.
Yeah.
But the one thing I will say for the women though is I think that they're tougher than all
Can
men's
you believe
soccer
that?
anywhere.
They don't flop.
They don't flop, dude. Those women will throw hands. They don't give a shit.
And they get up too. It's like they get fouled or
yeah, I'll
something like
throw
that,
that in
and they
there
get
for
up.
sure.
So it's just
Oh no, I've seen it already, but I'm throwing that on.
it's just funny to me.
But yeah, the women's is by far the tougher of the two.
Oh,
you
yeah.
see men get fucking flicked in the ear and they, are down crying, withering in pain. You'll watch Alex Morgan throw a right hook if someone bodies her wrong, The women,
Love 'em.
they make more
Love
money
'em.
than the men's. They sell more jerseys than
I
the
was
men's.
sipping my tea.
Yeah. And then she got shit about that. Like,
Fuck that.
That was
You
the
don't
greatest
want her
fucking-
you don't want her to celebrate. Don't let her score.
Yeah.
How about that?
they were giving her
it's very
shit
simple.
about sipping tea 2 days before 4th of July. Suck it, England.
And then how about this? Like, is it really that
ironic.
offensive? Like,
No.
No.
And
It'd be like one thing if she like stuck her middle finger out, or like one thing if she's like looked at the crowd and was just like, F you, whatever this. All she did was just do like a little
She did
teacup
the
celebration.
Kermit the Frog, bro.
Yeah, she did.
She did the
It was
Kermit.
like the most
She did the
believe-
Kermit the Frog. It's an original meme. All she did was an original meme celebration, and just because it was tea and they were playing England,
it
people
became a big
thought it
thing.
was a bad gesture. Like
And she
that's-
made a great
that's
point,
just
too, if you read
stupid,
her
bro.
quote about the whole
Yeah,
thing. She's
I
like,
did.
fucking, you see men out there, pulling
Grabbing-
Marshawn Lynch's,
grabbing their
dicks.
dick.
Yeah, and doing all this other kind
And
of
no
stuff.
one bats an eye at
Yeah,
that, but she
it's
just thinks she sips some fucking tea.
And
Get out
she's
here
the
with that
bad guy.
trash. Yeah, I
Come
know.
on, dude.
Hey,
Alex Morgan
take
is
your
dope.
loss, take your L, and go home, England.
Mad respect for the women's team. Congratulations on the
Hey,
back-to-back World Cup champions, baby. Do it big for the country.
We got to hold it down there because the men's team.
The men's team is not coming close anytime soon.
Nope.
But first off, in other news, not related to
What are you watching
sports
over there?
world, John Turturro's Big Lebowski spinoff, The Jesus Rolls, will be released in 2020. So any Coen brothers or Big Lebowski fans in this room, there you go. We're getting a bit of a sequel to The Big Lebowski, which I actually just watched the other night again because it's a great movie.
I saw a video of Max Scherzer's 3 different pitches, and for like 75% of the motion, like not even motion, the
Yeah.
ball coming out, they all look the same. And then like it gets 5 feet from the batter, and they do 3 separate fucking things.
The later the break,
insane.
the harder it is to hit, man. We rolling?
Insane.
Yep.
All right. Well, what a season finale of the Grip and Rip It Sports podcast
Great
it has
conversation.
been.
Great conversation today.
Thanks for having me on,
absolute
boys.
Stuff.
Yeah.
And as always, we need to end the show with our biggest piece of shit of today.
just the turd bucket deluxe of the day. Who is it?
Who do
is
we
it?
got?
Who?
Who is it, Connor?
I don't know. It's like it's.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
It's between Mayweather getting just snatched by the bone collector.
Like this money. You don't have to do this to yourself.
Or just China just destroying the Hornets. Not really destroying, but it is a destroy when you lose to China and anything. I don't care if you're the Hornets. I don't care if you're the YMCA 76ers, okay? We're just not losing to China in basketball. That's got to, might have to be the biggest turd of the day.
I think that has got to take the cake.
Yep, I'm going. Yeah, I have to agree with the Hornets. The fact that they lost to, a team of guys that aren't going to be anywhere near the NBA aside from Zochi.
Our producer related it to J.R. Smith went to that league and dropped, what was it? You said 50, 25, and 20 a game? So J.R. Smith, who is mid-tier player at best in his NBA history,
I mean,
went to the China League and dominated.
Drew
And
had 70 or 82 points on these guys. Like,
you know what was sad though is the Floyd Mayweather one was like they had the announcer then he's like, don't do it, Floyd, don't do it, don't get up on him, and then Bone Collector just comes and gives him a yeah snatch, and Floyd just goes flying under the rim and everyone freaks out and it's like, damn son, everyone was telling you to back up, it's Bone Collector.
You ain't
that's
dodging
what
no
he
punches
does.
there, kid.
This is what he does for a living. He literally goes to gyms and just snatches guys' ankles and has a cameraman film it. It's like, I don't know what to tell you, man. You could be the best ever, but right there you weren't the best ever. You look like the worst ever.
He caught in. He's 50-1 now.
And wrap.
And that's wrap it up.
No, yeah, you go ahead, Ben. Just finish it up real quick.
All right, Connor, man, appreciate you coming on. Excellent season finale.
It was
Thanks,
great
brother.
being on here with you guys. You guys are so much fun. I love doing this kind of stuff.
We always
all the time.
we always ask and love to have our guests back. It goes without saying.
You know my number. You know where to find me. You come find me, and hey, I'll even bring you another cake or two, baby.
Hey.
So, Grip and Rip It Sports Podcast. We're going to go on a little bit of a break for a few weeks. This episode will be out next Monday. It's kind of the schedule that we've been on, so look forward
I'm
then.
a fire this before I leave.
Oh, that's right. You're leaving Friday, so expect this in the next couple of days. And as always, guys, like, comment, and subscribe. Give us your questions. If you want to be a guest, let us know. Sponsors. And, we definitely need some sponsorships, too, because we're getting huge, if you haven't noticed.
We'll eat your food on camera. We'll shotgun energy drinks on
wear your
camera.
shirts.
We'll do whatever you want.
We'll do anything.
Anything.
I'll do whatever you want for money.
Anything for money.
So, we'll see you guys in a couple weeks, and we're out.
That's a wrap. Good job, guys.